only time it comes in handy. Maybe. No.
Knowing you wouldn't.
Just because I can't smell doesn't mean I don't know bodily functions.
You're like, I can afford to sneak one out.
If you have a problem with your own scent, I feel like that's an issue.
Yeah, no, right? When you're married, you have to be, respectful of other people's.
Really? I thought you're supposed to just, let it all out.
No, it's the worst.
Really?
Husband
Do you guys
farts are the worst. They're so gross. And we're back.
Hello.
Yo.
What's up, everyone?
Yeah, what's up?
Checking in after a night of fights. We had Murphy versus Emmett in the main event. What did you think?
Well, it was a good fight for me because I was excited for both of them, but also Lerone is somebody that we knew from way back in the day, and now he's 16-0, undefeated in the UFC, and he did what he had to do to get the win. I know a lot of people are
booing
upset with it.
Booing. I don't think I have ever heard the Apex so loud with boos. That is not a big facility and it does not seat that many people, but you would have thought it was a stadium full of people.
I know. Well, in his defense, I'm wondering if they finished that construction there yet, because it seemed like there were a little more people upset than normal.
A lot of
wait, there's a lot of angry folks at the fan, and it was pretty loud when Emmett walked in too. So it was a very heavy Emmett crowd. I could see why they would boo. Like Lerone was literally running away from him in the final rounds. But he did what he needed to do. And Josh Emmett had some really great moments in that. But I feel like this card was just kind of capped off as kind of a dull night.
It was not the best Apex representative. It definitely wasn't. But you know what? Nobody bats 1,000.
Well, one thing that Lerone said in his post-fight speech, he was like he was falling asleep in the backstage, like he felt like he needed a double espresso, and I'm wondering how often he's fought in the Apex, because that's what it does to you. You get lulled to sleep. You're back there. You're chilling. There's not a lot of people there. You don't hear the big crowd when there's a knockout. Like when you're in an arena, it doesn't matter how far backstage you are. When something big happens, everyone in the arena hears it because the crowd goes crazy.
Fair. Or it can completely adrenaline dump you and then you're fucked either way.
Yeah, exactly. So he did fight in the Apex when he fought Barbosa, and that was a really nasty fight. I mean, if he was running from damage in this fight, he was doing the opposite against Barbosa and got mashed up in there, but he was still able to get the win. So I think he might have some issues dealing with the win this time, because there are a lot of people who are being, kind of extra judgmental. They're not excited about seeing him fight again, but time will tell that shit doesn't matter, because when you have the O on your name, all you need is another big win. And
the
people
elusive
will be
O. People forget.
Your nutsack.
People are fickle. His number on Instagram probably didn't jump up very much this fight.
No.
But the previous ones and the next one definitely has another opportunity to make people forget and change people's minds.
Yes, it's an investment. The run was an investment.
It is. And I mean, as you were saying, he did what he had to do. He really had to get on his bike at certain moments, because Emmett is one of those power strikers that can put you to sleep with one punch. Mm-hmm. So he had clearly a lot of respect and healthy amount of fear in his strategy, which you have to have. He got tagged quite a few times, and I'm sure he felt the power, and it just reminded him that he needs to be on his P's and Q's in this match.
Yeah, I think I was really impressed with Emmett coming back back and looking as strong as he did after such a long layoff. He got that big knockout against Bryce Mitchell, and then he took a long time off. And he was saying that his body was just jacked up. He didn't feel like he was at 100% when he fought Ilia Topuria. He didn't feel like he was at 100%, and he really regrets that. So he was able to take about a year and a half off, and at the ripe old age of
40,
he's in our age bracket, an 85 baby. Hey-o. It's scary to take that much time off, and he was able to do that and still come back, and even in a loss, still look like the bigger, stronger, scarier fighter in that fight. I mean, the way he lifted Lerone up in that, what was it, the second round?
I thought it was the first round when he had his big takedown.
Yeah, he lifted him up and kind of tossed him over his back.
Like, oh my!
Oh no! That he looked like a fresh fighter. He didn't look like he was at the end of his career at all. So I think I was really impressed with that. I'm excited to see what Emmett does next, who he fights next, if he's able to sleep a prospect in his next fight. And I'm also excited to see if Lerone is able to keep his even though there were a lot of things that I saw in the fight that got me nervous, like the way that he backs up to the cage. We've seen the greatest strikers like Adesanya, you get in that pattern of, okay, I'm going to fight off of my back foot, but every now and then they get caught once they get to that cage. And we've seen Lerone get dropped before. So I'm interested to see who he fights next and how he does. I know he called out Brian Ortega, and I think that's a great call out, to be honest.
Sure. I mean, following the footsteps of the path that you've seen have success to get where you want to be. I completely understand that. And I mean, moving up, there are quite a few strikers ahead of Lerone on the rankings. I think Brian Ortega, Yair Rodriguez, Max Holloway would be a really cool step up. Other ones are going to be a little bit more grappling based or wrestling based. And I think that's where we're seeing a little bit of, not necessarily a chink, but some apprehensive that kind of takes him out of his game a little bit. Although he has repeatedly shown that even if he gets taken down, he can get back up and stay safe.
Yeah, I don't think grappling is really a downfall of his. If anything, that's where he likes to time his knees. He likes to time his uppercuts, his big, up the middle strikes, and really fuck people up. I mean, that's how he got his entry into the UFC, with a big knee knockout of a grappler. So I don't think that's going to throw him off as much, even though that will be probably the game plan going forward. But in his Ige fight, he got dropped, So I feel like somebody who's well-rounded, somebody who can do it all, that's going to be the person who has the potential to steal his O away from him.
I think I like the Brian Ortega fight, definitely.
I think
too. That's
I like
an
that fight for
exciting...
Emmett, too.
Sure.
I'm because Ortega seems to be kind of waning a bit, but
he's been a bit inconsistent.
Yeah, but he's fighting the best of the best. So I feel like it would be fair to give Emmett a shot at Ortega just to see what happens, because they're kind of in that same point of their career where it's let's see where we go. We're really good. We're probably going to take out most prospects, but at the same time, we're fighting for that top 5 spot. So yeah, I think that would be a fun one for him too. What'd you think about that co-main?
The co-main, who do we have? Hold on.
It was.
Let me look at my notes. We had Pat Sabatini. No, sorry. Yeah, we had Pat Sabatini.
I know, right? It's like, wait, that's not the co-main.
I was like, really?
Are you looking at the prelim card? No, this card was kind of.
Listen, Pat Sabatini is somebody I used to call his fights at CFFC years ago when he was an up-and-comer. And I know his style is not going to be a favorite of people, but I think I'm really impressed with just his ability to, take people down, control them, submit them. Not in this case, but just taking somebody like Brito that is extremely, dangerous and athletic, and nullifying all of his tools for 3 rounds is impressive.
Yeah, it's crazy. If you look at any of Brito's fights, you're like, this guy is a scary matchup for anyone. And Sabatini made him not look so scary. He made him look like kind of like a, just this is somebody I can just sit on and beat up on. And that's not the case.
Yeah.
That's not the case with Brito. It's really impressive that he was able to do that to him. And, he was able to take advantage of that guillotine that he kept. He kept jumping the gilly and ended up on his back. And I think a lot of people, when they're not fighting someone as good as Sabatini, you can use the guillotine to get yourself space because they have to respect it and get back on your feet. And he wasn't able to do that. Like, he was getting put flat on his back. Sabatini was hunting for that Von Flue all night long. I'm like, did he train with Ovent St. Preux? Because he was on that Von Flue like crazy. And it wasn't there, but that's also credit to Brito and how good he is at surviving, because that thing was deep a few times.
It was. And that's definitely like a great counter that you can use when somebody is going for your head. And when somebody, attacks submissions like that before position, traditionally we learn position before submission. It's safer that way. The guillotines that he was going for were, they were just not necessarily there.
They seem reactionary. Like,
he was in a tough spot. I'll try and look busy, almost like a grappling tournament.
Yeah, I'll lift his head, and then, oh no, my legs.
Yeah.
Didn't mean for those to come up too. He has a ninja choke submission on his record. So that's that one where you kind of do like a rear naked to the front, back.
When you're in the front.
When you're in the front and you're doing a rear. A front naked choke. So I feel like whenever you get a submission like that, you're hunting for it. And you're a lot of times hunting for it when it's not there. And Sabatini probably saw that and was like, I could get past that easy. People try to guillotine me all the time. And that's what he did. He got the big flare leg, double leg takedown, would put him flat on his back where the guillotine does nothing but keeps you stuck in that position. And then he used it to pass, used it to threaten the Von Flue, and was able to get himself a solid win off of that.
Mm-hmm. Much like Brito in this case was Cortavious Romious, who was in the fight preceding this one with Lee Chang Ho. Lee had a performance of the night. It was probably one of the most exciting fights on the card. But a lot of Romious's offense was kind of attack before position, before you had a clear path to it. It was more defensive and reactionary, and Lee was just on him from out the gate.
I felt so bad for Cortavious.
It was a tough learning experience, but I think a necessary one for him to evolve.
Yeah.
Sometimes we need these kinds of experiences to be a catalyst for our improvement. And I think this was definitely one of them. Tough as nails. He just didn't really have answers in those tough positions.
Yeah, he kind of he was jumping for things, and he would get to a good position, and then he'd be too high, or he'd start falling off the back, and then he'd go for a loose armbar, and it's kind of the type of thing where you're like, oh, I bet he gets that in the gym, but against somebody who's going to be a little tighter, who's going to have more on the line, those things aren't coming out for him. And he has an impressive amateur record, an impressive record before he got into the UFC, but he just has to tighten up some things. Because he has, like, you can tell he's a great athlete. Like, he's explosive. He has, like, the grit of like someone who's a seasoned veteran, but he jumps on the wrong things. It's like
he makes bad decisions.
It's like it's like when you see the I don't know, like the thing where it's like touch this and you're going to get zapped. Touch this and you'll be fine. And he just keeps touching the thing that gets him zapped. It's just like, wait, let me try again. And the same thing that he messed up with in the first round happened in the second. He fell off of Lee Chang Ho's back, and this time he wasn't able to get out of there. And dude, I felt horrible for him because they gave him so much time to get out of there, and it just wasn't happening. He took so much damage.
It was a lot of damage. But in the first round, he showed how tough he was. So I think that the ref went off of that and just said, well, this guy, needs just a little bit more time, an opportunity to work.
Yeah. I want to know where he's from because
probably Brazil.
Cortavious?
Yes.
No, he's an American boy.
No.
Yes, Cortavious Romious.
That is a Brazilian name if I ever heard one.
You must not have had the audio on because when
I didn't.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Because when he got, what was it? Was he kicked in the nuts or eye poked?
He got kicked in the nuts.
When he got kicked in the nuts, they stopped it. And then the guy was like, okay, you ready to go? And he said, yes, sir. Let's get it. And so, like, you are.
He's from probably the South
country. You called him sir. You are very country. It's so cute. So, I don't know. Something about him. He looks like an anime character. Like, he looks like, like a chibi version of himself, like a Pops character. He has those big old eyes and like a ridiculous 12-pack. I feel like he could be really great in the UFC. He just needs to shore some things up, like maybe take a year just to tighten everything, get like a solid, few attacks that are always going to work, and then I feel like he'll be good.
Yeah. Is he one of the Contender Series transplants?
Yeah. And that's usually what happens. Like a lot of times you get on Contender, you have an impressive fight, but once you get to that UFC level of competition,
it's a completely different level.
Yeah, everyone is a full-time fighter. Everyone has been living and breathing, fighting for years, and there's a lot of money on the line too. So you're gonna put in that extra work, bring in people. There's a lot of sacrifices that have to be made too in order to compete at that level. So I think once he figures out his groove, he's going to be good to go.
I agree. I think we also have to cover O'Day Osborne and Luis Gurule.
Yeah, Gurule.
The first round was a little scary for Osborne. He spent a lot of time on his back, was able to eventually get up. But the second round, he found his stride. He has beautiful strikes. He moves very well. He can fight going forwards and backwards. Just so fast and powerful. Had a beautifully timed step out cross. It was a great performance, and he faced some adversity. I'm happy to see him continue to move up that ladder.
Yeah, I was surprised that Gurule was such a big favorite, but that's what happens when you're on a skid. People underestimate like how well you'll do against someone coming in, and this was Gurule's debut in the UFC. If you remember, he fought our boy Alberto Trujillo, and we were pissed because they kind of looked the same, and I'm pretty sure that the judges thought that Gurule was Alberto. Like, I was watching a clip of them fighting, and I'm like, oh, man, Alberto's getting fucked up. And I'm like, wait, no, that's Alberto fucking Gurule up. So I kind of had my eye on this guy because I'm like, you lucked out because because the judges are racist. They can't tell the difference between the two Mexicans. But in this O'Day fight, he really set himself apart. He was able to land that power punch, and he was still pretty butthurt about his fight against Lazy Boy.
He needs to let that go.
AKA Sleepy.
AKA one of the Seven Dwarfs.
Yeah, he almost slept, Lazy Boy. But, Lazy Boy was able to fight back. It was UFC 300. It was a Sphere. So the crowd was super behind him, and the judging acted accordingly.
This can be a great thing to have a chip on your shoulder as a fighter, but it can also be to your own detriment if you're not careful. Holding on to the wrong kind of motivations can sometimes prevent you from excelling.
Right.
And moving past those losses. Luckily, he got the win here. But I hate to hear that he's still holding on to that.
Well, I think he just learned from his mistakes. With that fight, he felt like he gassed himself out a bit, going for the triangle, gassed himself out, chasing the knockout. He dropped him really bad. The ref didn't stop the fight. So I think he just wanted to approach this fight a little differently, and it seemed like he did. He wasn't super. I guess he didn't use a lot of energy in the first round because he didn't want to do the same thing. Sure. He didn't want to have a huge dump scrambling through that first round. A lot of times the first round can just be chaotic and can really set you up badly for the second and third. He tried to space out his explosiveness, is what he said, and then he ended up really exploding all over Garule's face in that second round. So that was cool.
Exploding all over his face.
He did. No homo. I love what he said to Bisping when he was like, "Oh, that was a beautiful right hand." He goes, left. Hand. I'm like, that was so cunty, Ode.
It was a cross. A cross can be a left or a right, depending on your stance.
You were thinking, yes. You weren't paying attention,
but you were wrong.
Like, come on, bro. He has one eye. Leave him alone.
Oh, poor guy.
Oh, it's crazy. So yeah, congrats to Ode. Really happy for him. He got off of that skid. That's also something that's really scary when you have a bunch of losses clumped together. You're always worried about that job on the line. And he said he wasn't, but
you always got to be a little concerned.
I mean, yeah, just a
little concerned.
Just a little bit.
Even one, you're kind of scared these days. One can get you cut.
Well, we talked about some of the exciting fights on the card. What was your least exciting fight?
I think we gotta talk about it. We gotta talk about Finney versus Valentin. This is a really tough one. It was huge size discrepancy.
He's
like 5'8"
meatball. Yeah,
Finney is 5'8" and all muscle.
I'm like, is he 5'8" or is that like a man's 5'8"?
He's really 5'5".
Yeah, right.
I mean, I think the stats were something like 8 actual takedowns, multiple takedown attempts, and then like literally 4 strikes on Finney's side. He had a really dominant first 2 rounds, and then he started, the grapple and wrestling heavy game plan started wearing on him. And then the third round was Valentin's best round. But the critique that I would give to Valentin is, yes, I know this guy is barreling towards you. It's really hard to defend, and especially just the stature is hard for the longer, lanky body type. Yeah. But he was more focused on trying to grab submissions rather than defending the takedown initially and then striking. Towards the end of the fight in the third round, he started trying to put strikes together, throwing elbows every time that Finney came in, but it was a little bit too late.
Yeah, he was just draping himself over his shoulder like they were doing that carry drill, like when you shoot in a double leg and you're like, just put yourself on the shoulders.
Partners need a good partner to be light.
Yeah, like you're not supposed to do that in the fight.
You're supposed to be heavy.
Don't be a good partner in the fight. Yeah, whenever you lean over like that, you take away all your offense, unless you're trying to do one of those weird like Dominic Cruz things where you roll through as they slam you and end up on top. But that wasn't happening. He wasn't going for that. He was just trying to, I don't know, jump a triangle or something. But Finney really needs to learn how to mix in his strikes with his wrestling, because this isn't the first time that people have had this critique over him. And it's actually the reason why he was on Contender Series multiple times, because he is not exciting.
He's not. Somewhere, Sean Shelby is screaming. I doubt he is their matchmaker.
I heard him.
Somewhere in Las Vegas, he is still pissed about this.
Yes.
He's probably having a conversation about it right now because he's so upset. Sean Shelby is not a grappling fan as McMaynard is. So he's not the type to sign these kinds of fighters unless they have just a really impressive display of fighting and putting everything together. So it's this is concerning.
Well, it's crazy to see someone like Finney in the UFC when our boy Brendan Loughnane, he was famously not brought into the UFC because he was winning a fight on Contender Series. He shot a takedown in the final 30 seconds because the third round was close. And Dana White said, "What the fuck are you doing? Like, why would you shoot a takedown in that fight? Like, you're not getting in here."
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think that had to do with some other things, though.
It did. There was other backstory, but it was a convenient excuse that they have to stick by.
Yes. And the even crazier thing was, oh shoot, I don't know where this window went, but the crazy thing is that one of the judges scored it.
Oh, Tony Weeks.
Yeah.
It was Tony
Was it Tony Weeks?
Yeah. He scored 30-27 for Valentin.
Yes.
And that's crazy. And this isn't his first time. Tony Weeks is definitely not playing the same game that the other judges are playing. But am I mad at it?
Do you like it?
When I see the score, when I see the strike count, I feel like he might just be taking the damage thing very literally. Like maybe he doesn't know what it feels like to be dropped on your head.
Maybe we should show him.
I mean, he is a boxing ref, so it's one of those things where you're like, okay, you're coming in with different experiences, and your scorecards are completely different from everyone else.
I feel like that's not an excuse for judging anymore. We always say, oh, it's a boxing judge. Oh, it's a boxing judge. Boxing judges, if you are scoring an MMA fight, you should really take MMA into consideration. It's not your sport. It's not what you're familiar with or used to, so you should really get familiar and used to MMA criteria.
Yeah, but they're not going to.
They're not. I swear, all of those guys have tenure. They're they're in it.
They're not.
They don't care.
They're not. They're like, I got the job, and you know what the hardest job to get fired from is? Being an MMA judge. Like, how many people have screwed up a day of work and they still get to come in the next day and do it? The only person who's gotten fired is Douglas Crosby.
Yes.
And that was.
And look how long that took.
It took so long. He
So
threatened fighters. He threatened fighters.
He bragged and boasted about his biases and his lack of respect for criteria.
No one judges fights right but me. Hey, that should tell you right there that you're wrong. Man, it's so stupid. So I don't agree with the judging, but it is kind of funny that it was Tony Weeks. I think the other fight that he did 30-27 the other way, and everyone was like, what the heck, was Adrian Yanez versus Davy Grant. But I was there and this was also in the Apex. I was there, and I thought it was a fair score. So I'm like, maybe from Tony Weeks' angle, all the little ground and pound off of his back that he was landing, all the strikes that he was landing throughout the fight. I think it was something ridiculous, like 8 strikes versus 94 or something like that. So, like, there's a case for Tony Weeks not to be a terrible judge. But as of right now, that's what it looks like.
He sucks. Shame on you.
Sorry. Hey. There has to be a reason for it. Well, we should talk about the girl fights before we move on. There was a couple ones. Dione Barbosa fought Diana Belbita.
Mm-hmm.
That should have been a lock. I didn't know this fight was happening last week, but if I did, I would have been like, Dione is definitely gonna ruin this girl's day.
It looked like not only different weight classes, but it looked like a grown woman was fighting a child.
It was different weight classes. This girl, her last fight, she's fighting a world class like judoka, jiu-jitsu girl. Her last fight was getting armbarred by Molly McCann at strawweight. So this should have been a lock. Like, I'm sorry, guys. I didn't see the matchup on it. I wasn't
She
paying
didn't look
attention.
far enough down on the card.
I wasn't paying attention, but I'm sorry. We could have made you guys a lot of money.
My bad.
Yesterday.
Forgive us.
Sorry.
We'll make it up to you.
Next time we'll pay more attention. I know you guys don't pay that much attention to the girl fights, so we'll do extra due diligence to let you know when there's a lock on the card that's female. She did what she was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And luckily,
one-way traffic. Dione Barbosa, she's one of Jenna Bishop's first fights, our friend who's fighting next week in PFL. And it was a really crazy back and forth fight, but this girl has been on a tear ever since then, ever since losing to Jenna. So it was pretty, once she got into the UFC, I'm like, she's going to be a problem for a lot of people. And this matchup was perfect for her. It was a girl who was moving up in weight. Barbosa's already huge for flyweight. And she has proven that her grappling isn't the best. So she was able to take advantage of all that.
Yeah, it was just power, athleticism versus volume with no power. It was
how do you win?
It could have been a much rougher night for Belbita had Barbosa not taken her down and finished her so quickly. It was a mercy killing.
A mercy kill? It was the easiest way out. Well, Barbosa has gassed in the past, so it was better
that muscle.
It was better for both of them.
It's all that muscle.
You know what?
Eats up all those carbs too fast.
Well, yeah, let's, we didn't talk about Rhys McKee.
Oh, I think we should.
Yeah, let's talk about that, and then we'll just glaze over the strawweight fight since we have to.
Do we?
Yeah,
I mean, we should. We got to pay homage to the
That's
ladies.
why we're here. It's two straws. How
I
can you
know.
not talk about the two strawweight fights?
I'm kidding.
Rhys McKee looked phenomenal.
Oh my gosh.
First win in the UFC.
That man's jab was picture perfect.
Yeah.
And I mean, just could not have been any more beautiful of a display of striking, the way he mixed up his long range punches, pocket work, clinch work. He did it all. Mm-hmm. He did it all. And to Frunza's credit, he's tough as nails. He was, to his own dismay, not able to continue. In the corner, they just decided that he wasn't going to continue. His face was mangled. He was still in it, trying to do work though, even though he was facing so much adversity.
Yeah, it was rough to watch, and it was crazy because I thought they were gonna stop it because of the eye, but it was actually that cut on the lip.
It was so deep. Oh,
it was so nasty. It looked like you just took a steak knife and just
no citrus or salt for that man for a very long time. That's gonna burn.
God. So looking at Rhys McKee's record, he is one of those guys that got brought into the UFC and then got kicked out after two losses. But his losses were to Khamzat Chimaev and Alex Morono.
Yeah, that's rough. That is rough. Who did you piss off?
Yeah, right? Like, did you hit
Who was your manager?
He was hitting on Sean Shelby's wife or
Probably.
something. Like, she's a big Skeletor fan. She's like, oh, yeah. It's my favorite cartoon.
He did have some pretty cool tattoos.
Yeah, he has some interesting tattoos, but I don't like the placement of all of them, but they were still interesting. So he left the UFC, won 3 got 3 knockouts in a row in Cage Warriors, and then came back and got Anglusa and Chidi and Jacani. So it was really.
Gosh.
Oh,
Hello. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, thank you. Special delivery from Coach Adam.
Oh, no donut.
Yay. So yeah, he had like a really rough first 4 fights in the UFC. And one thing that I hated when I left the UFC and came back, I went on a 4-fight win streak and then came back into the UFC and then lost a fight of the night fight against Andrade. And people were like, 0-3 in the UFC. And
Fuck off.
Like,
fuck off very much.
No, I left and won. Like, don't forget that. But it's so hard. Like, it's almost like they all happened in one clump. When you leave the UFC and then you come back and you get, like, more losses. 0-4 in the UFC, that's such a rough hump to get over. And I love the way that he just fucking powered through this fight, did all the damage, took everything that all the information he gained from those losses and used it to get a big win.
I love that. That's what you want to see out of a fighter, that kind of, that grit, that perseverance, the determination, and and it's not easy, like mentally, emotionally, to get cut, come back, get cut again, and then like just keep constantly climbing that mountain, that slippery slope. It's so hard, and I really admire that kind of determination.
Yeah. He's like, I'm going into this fight and something's getting cut, and it's not me.
It's his face.
It's your lip. Well, let's glaze over the strawweight fights. They were pretty technical, pretty good. I think we were just starved for finishes, so that's why I'm not super excited to talk
greedy
about it. We're so give me more, feed me
blood,
more Rhys McKees and Ode Osborne's, please. But the Loma Lookbonmee versus
Istela
Nunes. What's wild is that Istela Nunes was supposed to fight Molly McCann, and she had visa issues, so Molly had to end up fighting this fucking wood chipper of a contender series girl, and what was her name? Tainara. I want to say Tatiana.
No, hold on.
Because she busted down.
Yeah, Alexia Tainara.
Bust down. So that fight was such a harder fight, in my opinion, especially because of the way Molly McCann fights. She likes to, like, have her space. She likes to fill it out a little bit. And that girl just puts you on the back foot right away. So I feel like this fight with Istela Nunes would have been much better. I mean, honestly, she was on a 4-fight lose streak. She got cut, and then she got re-signed to fight Molly McCann. So this was the fight that was supposed to happen, and the visa issues might have been the difference between Molly being retired and...
That's a fair point.
Yeah, it's kind of wild.
Yeah, because seeing how this fight played off, I could completely see Molly's path to victory.
Yeah, and I would love to see Loma versus Tainara. I think that would be a throwdown.
That would be such a fun fight.
Yeah.
I love it. This might not be popular. Uh-oh. Don't jump on me, but I actually could have given Nunes 2 rounds.
Really?
Yes.
Are you serious?
I am so serious.
I forgot to ask you about that because I saw her face when they called the fight, and I thought it was clearly Loma.
No, in the second round,
maybe Burdick has something.
She was on her back, but she was attacking. And no, she did not have the submission like completely locked in, but she was forcing Loma to be completely defensive, and Loma was not really scoring or engaging, really. She was put in a defensive posture, so I would have given the second to Nunes.
That's wild. I thought it was really clearly Loma. But yeah, there is one person who gave Nunes the 2 rounds. But they're the NY Post. That's not a real magazine or not a real newspaper. But
well, I mean, if you look at like a Demopoulus fight, she won a fight on her back. You see certain grapplers that will win fights off of their backs.
Yeah, but that shouldn't have happened.
Well, I know that was a bad reference point, but that's the first one that came into mind because she fought that night.
Yeah.
So that was just top of the mind. But I'm saying that there is something to, grapplers attacking even if they're on their back.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree. I just didn't see her winning off of her back for whatever reason. And it looked like Loma was doing better work on the feet too. Like she would come in, she would throw her like speedy combinations. Nothing landed really like hard and solid. So that's why when fights go to the ground, you're like, okay, maybe this will be more clear. But I felt like Loma was landing the more strikes. She was faster. She had more volume. It felt like a clear Loma win for me, but I can see it, and that makes more sense too. Her reaction, because I was like, what fight was she in where she's that surprised?
I definitely don't think it was 30-27.
Yeah,
I just don't. I think that was unfair.
Yeah. So what about the Demopoulus fight, since we mentioned it? What did you think about that one? I thought Talita Alencar looked much improved. I remember not being like super like I felt like she was one of these new girls who are being brought in but might get smashed at a higher level. I was impressed with her. Like I feel like she really improved a lot of things in this fight.
From her last one, I was worried that she didn't have the ability to take the fight to the ground that she needs to display her dominant grappling abilities, because she is a very decorated grappler. And I think that's what, caught the eye and brought her into the UFC really, is because she is such a success on the ground. It's just if she could get to the ground. Who was her last fight?
Stephanie Luciano.
She could not get her to the ground.
Right.
And she ended up losing. She got outstruck and just frustrated. So I was wondering if this would be the case. Fortunately for her, Vanessa Demopoulus is more willing to go to the ground because she's a little bit more confident in her submission skills. She's won a fight off of her back before.
Yeah.
So she feels like she can control the pace on the ground and on the feet. So it was impressive that that Talita was able to completely control her and nullify her. And I think that there were some 10-8 rounds, correct?
There was 1 10-8 round from one judge. I don't know if I agree with that, but it was dominant. I usually when there's a 10-8, I want to see
it's
more
close to the finish
damage. Yeah, more damage.
I was surprised, but I wasn't mad at it.
Yeah, I get it. Like I just like to see consistency. But if you're gonna go with just controlling the fight the entire round, then yeah, she got a 10-8. It was impressive to me too. Like you said, it was really hard for her to get that takedown against Luciano. It was her second time fighting Luciano, so maybe that was part of the reason. She was just hip to her game. But she went to split decision with Rayana Dos Santos too, who's another one of those new girls who are kind of green. And it made me think maybe she doesn't have what it takes to really get the fight to her wheelhouse. And it almost looked like Demopoulus didn't sprawl at all when she was fighting her. Do you think like maybe she wanted to prove that she was better on the ground, or do you think she just had a sick single leg?
It could have been a combination of both. It could have been Demopoulus just kind of wanting to prove a point with her grappling, because she does have a lot of pride in her grappling. She's, she leads with it a lot. She talks about it.
That stripper pole armbar. She went
that
for
suction crotch.
Yeah, she got that leg up there.
So yeah, it could very well have been like a matter of trying to prove a point, which sometimes will bite you in the ass. In this case, I think it did.
Well, she was super spicy at the weigh-ins when she was like, "Oh, I can't wait to punch you in the face,
girl."
I'm like, "Oh,
those fighting words.
I need to know the backstory of this tea."
Luckily, we're going to find out.
Yeah. Oh, yes. So we have Talita Alencar coming on the show. She's going to tell us all about that and why she wanted to punch, or Demopoulus wanted to punch her in the face so bad.
I know. She's so nice. What did she
Oh,
do?
she was very respectful in the post-fight speech, too. So I need to get to the bottom of this because I feel like she's not saying something.
Leave it to us, guys.
We'll figure it out. Ooh, speaking of tea, I got more backstory on the
the Chris Cully?
Yes, the Chris Cully incident.
Yes, tell me.
So
Dying.
apparently, Chris Cully, I forget the other coach's name, but Chris Cully was supposed to be head coach. And he was the guy who was in charge of like the striking and everything. And then the other coach, the taller, light-skinned man.
And this is in the corner of Jamal Emmers.
Yes, Jamal Emmers. The taller coach was supposed to be the grappling guy.
The pagan.
Yeah, the pagan was the grappling guy. So the fight starts on the feet, and everything that's happening on the feet, the pagan is talking over him. He's talking over Chris Cully. He's saying things that don't make sense. He's like yelling foot stomps and stuff that's just like,
Maybe it was code.
No, it wasn't. When you're head coach, you're supposed to know all the codes. You can't talk over.
I've heard some corners yell out Pinot Grigio.
Yeah, but I'm sure everyone knows what Pinot Grigio is. If you're yelling foot stomps, you probably want a foot stomp.
Maybe it's the opposite.
And when your fighter's winning in other ways, like by throwing the hands, like what your head coach is asking you to do, then, you don't want something blurring the sound waves. So he was pissed that he kept talking over him, basically. And, yeah, when it went to the knockout, then he just jumped in his face and screwed in his face. So that's pretty much it.
I see.
Oh, but the other thing that happened was as the pagan was yelling out foot stomps and all this other stuff that was opposite of what Chris Cully wanted him to say, Padilla, who was also in his corner, Emmers' corner, like touched him on the shoulder and said, "Hey, just let him work." Like he was like telling the pagan, like, "Hey, calm down." And you have to do that in the corner because the corner is a very frantic place sometimes, especially in a fight like that where there's a lot going on. People are getting dropped. Like, it was a crazy fight. So if you are getting too excited, like, it's a good corner if he's like, "Hey, calm down, let so-and-so talk," so he can hear him. And he said, "Get your fucking hands off of me.
Oh, my.
Don't you fucking touch me." And so I think Chris Cully got, like, protective.
Sure.
Because that's his fighter at the same time, not just like a corner man. That's also his fighter. And so afterwards, that's why there was so much drama in the corner, pointing and yelling and getting pissed off.
I get it.
Paganism.
I get. Oh my goodness, the worst. I get it. It's I hope that in the future or in all fighters' corners there can be peace and cohesion and great communication, because it's not the time or the place to have like a pissing contest to be proven a point.
Yeah. The thing I said worked. Like, nobody fucking cares. Just like,
we're trying to be right.
Yeah.
Worry about your fighter.
Just make sure they can hear you, because they probably didn't hear you. They just threw it on accident. Yeah, so that's the tea that I got from Chris Cully's side. So you're welcome, guys.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, it's a little clarity there.
Thank you, Investigator Hill.
Yes, I try. So you had some interesting topics we were gonna chat about before we talk about next week's fights.
Do you want to talk about next week's fights? Do you want to do a bonus content, or do we just want to run it through?
Let's just run it through.
Oh, run it!
Yeah, run it. They'll just have to watch the episodes like in a couple days.
Oh.
Just like space it out while you're cleaning, while you're driving to your job. Yeah, that type of thing.
All right. So first little off-topic topic is I saw that Khabib is, he has his own fight organization, and he's quoted as saying, I'm not against all of this stuff. If you want to do it, but I don't try to impose it at our events. It's my personal opinion. Please do not ever think I have anything against women. Women are created for each other, but everything has its own place. And for me, ring girls have nothing to do with it.
Oh.
Somehow these are the most controversial words spoken in MMA history. So a reporter was talking to Khabib during a Q&A, just kind of asking like why you don't have ring girls.
Okay. I mean, he has a point, but I'm more turned off about his talk about women should be making sandwiches in the kitchen and fighting. You know what I mean? Like that. Yeah. That's the comment that I don't like. I don't mind the ring girl. Like Ronda Rousey said the same thing. She was like, fighters,
the do nothing bitches,
the DMBs should not be getting paid more than the women going out there and fighting and bleeding for the fans. Like there's a lot on both sides, but it's very dangerous to be a fighter, and we should be at least getting paid as much.
Hazard pay,
exactly. Health insurance, like
I'm not mad at it. But his comments about his views on male and female roles, and then this coupled with that, I understand why it raises an alarm, perks ears up, makes it a topic of conversation.
Yeah.
But I mean, as a fighter, I don't need a ring card person.
I like the ring card boy idea. I thought that was really fun. Maybe we could get Khabib up there in his Speedos.
That would never happen. A little bow tie, maybe, a little cufflinks.
Ooh, yeah.
Get some of the thunder from down under, guys, in Vegas. Yes. All right, never mind. I changed my opinion.
Well, remember, God rest his soul,
Theodoro.
Yeah, Elias Theodoro. He was one of the first ring card boys.
He was a good sport.
He was really sweet about it. Like, he got up on there in Invicta, I think. And he was the only guy, but he held it down. And I feel like we should bring that back, Like, it's a fun concept. Maybe if we ever do, like, an all-female fight promotion, we could do that. That would be fun. I feel like male models would be cheaper than female models too.
They're like the females in MMA.
Yes,
just a little bit less appreciated, a little bit more scarce opportunities. We'll give you a home. We got you.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
True.
Poor guys, you guys have it so hard. Yeah. Well, maybe that could be the thing that saves Khabib. He can hire some of his teammates to do the ring carding, and then nobody's mad.
Yeah.
How else will we know what round it is?
That's fair. I mean, they're usually little numbers on the screens. Yeah.
But we're not looking at that. We want to see some skin walk by with a number up. We don't care what kind of skin it is.
Fair. Let's talk about this more. We'll game plan.
Yeah.
Another topic that's caught some attention is people are kind of outraged about UFC 315 star reveals he's fundraising to pay for his title fight travel expenses to Canada. So Jack Della Madellena versus Bilal Muhammad is happening at UFC 315. That's, right around the corner. And he's basically put together like a fundraising Q&A kind of fan experience so that he can raise money to have his team float out for his title fight.
Huh.
Because they're going from Australia?
Well, they're in Australia.
Yeah, to Canada. That's pretty expensive. Yeah. I mean, Australia to anywhere is expensive. It's like one of the higher priced airfares that you'll find. It's a lot harder to get to and from.
Yeah. The thing is, the UFC should be paying for that, like for a title fight.
You get one more fight. So when you fight, when you fight a normal fight, you get fighter and 2 cornermen and 2 hotel rooms. When you have a title fight, you have 4 corners. You're allowed 4 corners, but they'll only pay for 3 plus yours. And then 2 hotel rooms, unless you have, a really good manager who has the inn and will negotiate. Otherwise, you're doing a lot of out of pocket. Sometimes you get some discounts because you book with the UFC, so they have some, deals that they can do. But it brings up the topic of fighter pay again, and how it's just it's very eye-opening to people that this is the case, where people fighting for the title are not making as much money as people actually think. Yeah. This was it was also an interesting topic that I saw. The last guy to beat Pereira, he what is his name? Artem. Mm-hmm. He passed on a UFC contract, so the UFC was interested in him. He was not interested, according to the UFC protocols. They were not able to offer me more than standard contract offered to all fighters who progressed through the show. My team attempted to negotiate, but UFC rules were strict and no changes were possible. So he passed up on fighting the UFC because they would only give him entry level, even with all of his credentials, with his following, with all things considered, they would only give him entry level UFC purse.
Well, I think if his fight was a little more like scary looking and exciting, like they might have bent a little bit. But
do you think?
I think so, because didn't like Pereira and Adesanya come in through Contender Series? Or did they just debut?
They just debuted in the UFC.
Yeah, so like that just might not be the route that you want to take when you're somebody of that credentials. But like, it's crazy to think that they won't just do it. Like it's crazy. Like there's the UFC makes the rules. Like that's the thing that annoys me.
I want to know what Pereira's entry was into the UFC, because there was so much buzz on him. He's managed by Ed Soares, who owns and runs LFA. So they were, getting him ready through the LFA. And they have a pretty good line to the UFC. They have a lot of top prospects going to the UFC, now becoming champions. So I wonder what his entry fee was. Because he had so many credentials, he was the last person to beat Adesanya. And that was the stipulation, all the buzz behind him. I wonder if they only gave him entry-level money.
Well, when I got back into the UFC, I was on, I think, 20-20.
That's the normal.
That's like even if he was getting that, like
I think that's what they offered him.
Yeah, and I think even if he was getting that, the potential to jump, like he got a performance of the night in his first one, I feel like it's still more money than you'd expect as a fighter. Especially coming from like Brazil, especially this being like a random career that you just chose out of the blue. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't be surprised if Pereira just came at a lower price, because
maybe
it was beneficial to him,
because they knew that the opportunity for money making would be so great if they just kind of like took it in at the entry. I don't know. I just think with all of the hype behind him, that he probably got paid more.
For sure. But you never know. The thing, one thing with the Jack Della Madellena thing, it seems like it was a miscommunication, but there's a conspiracy theory about it.
Tell me.
So, Damon Martin reports via X, Jack Della Madellena was not raising funds to get his team to UFC 315 in Montreal. Jack was making a paid appearance, and there was a miscommunication with the venue who actually made that post, and it was absolutely outside of Jack's permission or knowledge, just to be clear.
Ooh.
Oh, wait. There's more. Just to clear that air on the whole story. So I think I think the reason this like perks so many ears though is because it's still true everything you said. Like the UFC only pays for 2 tickets. You have to pay for the other 2 or 3 because you get 4 cornermen. You have to pay for the other 2 or 3 plane tickets in order to get out there. Australia to Canada is crazy, you know, and like you could always get the money from the UFC. Like they'll
advance it to you, but they'll deduct it from your purse.
Yeah, they'll take it out of your purse, but like if you don't have that money in your bank account, they'll figure it out. It does bring that to like the forefront though, the fact that little things that other pro athletes don't have to worry about. Like other pro athletes don't have to worry about all their coaches flying out to the game. You know, like other pro athletes don't have to worry about like I don't know how many rooms they get in the hotel. Like these are little,
their equipment is transported for them.
Yeah, like these are little things that, you know, other pro other like, you know, sports take care of. Like the highest of the highest sports, they take care of all this stuff. So that's why people do get pissed off when things like this happen. Like when who was it who was fighting for the flyweight belt and he was doing Uber?
Oh, Pantoja.
He was fighting for the flyweight belt and he's driving Uber in order to make ends meet so he can get through camp. And like most of us are too proud to ask for like extra support. Like we're not gonna go, hey Dana, can I get like, you know, a few $1,000s so I can make rent before this fight? Like we're just gonna go out and make it or get it somehow. And that's like, you know, the reason that these stories come out. When people find out about it, they're just like, wow, I had no idea, because we're not, you know, begging, we're not making a big deal about it. We're just trying to make things work out so we can get the fight day.
No, we're used to sucking it up and handling it.
Yeah, we're just we're just abused.
We're used to it. It's our normal.
Yeah. You pay us what we're supposed to get paid, and we're just not going to know what to do with ourselves. Just stop trying. So, yeah, it sucks when the fighter pay issue always comes up, because I know it's like a hot topic, and I know it should be better. At the same time, it's better than it's ever been. So you just got to keep hoping that it keeps getting better. But you can't stop talking about it, because then there will be no reason for it to get better.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those topics that we should just never let go.
Ever.
Ever. Well, let's hop on to UFC. What number is this? 311? 313?
313.
Okay.
We were at 311, silly.
Whoops. I don't remember it. Actually, no, I was sober for that.
Really?
I think so. Adam was fucked up.
It's either one.
Was that LA or?
Yeah, that was LA.
Yeah. Adam was.
It's one or the other.
Adam was a mess. That's when he made friends with Josh Emmett. Really?
Yeah, he was sitting next to us.
Yeah.
I met Josh Emmett at it was 310. Nicest guy ever.
He's so fucking nice.
So nice. Him and his wife are just the cutest ever. I just adore them. They're so sweet.
Was his wife there this time?
No, she wasn't. One of his best friends was, but I met her the previous time.
Oh.
Just great people.
He's so sweet.
Yeah, just cannot not root for that guy.
Yeah, we were asking him about the Bryce Mitchell fight, and he's just like, yeah, you know, everyone says that I'm this hero now, but honestly, Bryce Mitchell's been nothing but nice to me, so I can't. I'm like, wow, you're not even gonna jump on that thing. You're just gonna be a nice guy, man.
Yeah, gotta root for that.
What a G. And his beard looked amazing.
It was epic, and I loved the little like white streak in it.
Right?
It was.
Dude, I'm like, yeah, can you like forge me a sword from your
he was a conduit for lightning at one point, and he was raising his sword in the air, and it just gave him that white streak.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay, so UFC 313. Wait, no, not
314.
314. I'm like, wait, this already happened.
It just happened. So in the main event, we have Alexander Volkanovski making his return against Diego Lopes for the vacant featherweight title.
Go ahead, Mr. Volk, holding out. You know, that's my plan. I'm just going to hold out until everyone else drops off the roster, and then eventually I'll be at the top.
It's not a bad strat. Oh, did you hear that they're using Meta to make the rankings now?
God.
Hey, maybe it'll be a good thing.
If it's based off of my engagements, it's going to be horrible. Fucking all of a sudden Demopoulus is ranked number 1.
Stop it. Meta would not do that. Meta is smart.
It's going to be Mackenzie Dern, actually, because he has traveled for multiple Mackenzie Dern fights. That is his girl. It's his girl. It's like, I'm going for my girl. Well, yeah. So
anyways, I'm going for Volkanovski. Hopefully Volk has had enough rest. His body, his head, everything is in shape and aligned, and I think that he can give Diego Lopes the toughest fight of his life.
I think so too. I think Diego Lopes kind of jumped the line a bit and was able to get some good matchups for himself. I mean, the win over Ige, I feel like was his most impressive, but then that happened on
like
what,
12
hour? Yeah, not even 12. Yeah, like 2 hour notice.
Danny Ige, like, what a G.
Yeah, and he almost won that fight.
I wish I was that cool.
Dude, he's awesome. I wish I got that call. I'd be like, oh, hell yeah. Let's go. Yeah, Dan Ige is awesome. It was a really back and forth fight, that one. So, you know, it just made me think if someone like Ige had a little more time to prepare, he might have been able to beat Lopes. Yeah. And then with the Brian Ortega fight, I just felt this was one of those fights that made it clear that Ortega isn't the guy that he used to be. Yeah. And I feel like he kind of always has had favorable matchups. He's always had a lot of time off to recover and then would come back kind of a different fighter, but then the next time he would fight right away, you would see that kind of decline.
Definitely been some
ability.
Inconsistency. Yeah.
So I feel like Lopes has just rode the wave and been in the right place at the right time, and now he gets to fight for the title. So kudos to him. Like he's become a star overnight. But I feel like Volk just has that. He still has that dog in him. He's still like the guy on top that only the people who have beaten him can beat.
Yeah.
So that's our pick.
Clearly, if we didn't make it clear.
We are Volk fans. Let's go, Volk. Can't wait to see it. But Chandler versus Patty Fleming, I'm really interested to see what you think about that one.
I think Patty's going to get it.
Oh!
I'm sorry. I don't... Chandler is one of those people that since he has been in the UFC, he has just not delivered.
Evolved.
Or evolved. No, yeah. he hasn't in some time. He does really great promotion for himself. And he does. He's a mouthpiece. Like he's good. He's good at what he's good at.
He says things that make you laugh at him.
Lots of sound bites.
Yeah, take it to the top.
Lots of sound bites. I just feel like what I've seen with Patty is that they're giving him very favorable matchups. He's, got a big following. He's very popular, and they're going to keep giving him these matchups where he can come out on top.
Oh, Patty's going to take it to the top. I agree. I think Patty's going to take it. I feel like, I just feel like he's becoming better. His last performance against Bobby Green, I was just like, oh, man, all right. Well, he's definitely a finisher because there are a lot of people who were set up against Bobby Green who weren't able to finish the job or, just made it look more competitive. And he just, manhandled him. So I feel like this could be his coming out party. Like this could be where everyone finally gets behind him and is like, all right, he actually is good enough to be one of the best in the world. And Chandler is a great person to prove that against because, yeah, like you said, he hasn't really evolved. The people that he could beat when he got into the UFC remain those people. Like, he's not getting better. He's not getting worse, but he is getting a little older. He is getting, I don't know, just more stuck in his ways. Like, you know exactly what he's going to throw, and it's either going to work or not work. Against Patty, I can see him getting into that clinch, getting into a ridiculous scramble, and getting some weird submission on him. Like, he's really slick on the ground, and I feel like that could definitely happen. And then when you have these like big old guys who are slick on the ground, they don't care what they're throwing. They just throw a heat. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. I feel like it's going to be a little sloppy looking at first just because
of course it is.
Power hitters, and they're both like, yeah, it's going to be funky looking. But I agree. I see Patty coming out on top.
And next we have the battle of good versus evil. We have Bryce Mitchell and Jean Silva.
If there's anyone who would pray with Bryce Mitchell after a fight, it's Jean Silva. He was like, come on, bro. Like, Jean Silva would be like, yes, brother, let us pray. He'll pray with him on his way into the octagon. Like, he gives no fucks. Everyone knows who we're picking. I feel like this is a lock.
Do you?
I feel like this is a lock. Jean Silva has been on fire lately, and Bryce Mitchell, his striking has gotten worse. Like in the last couple of years, he's just looked worse on the feet. And on his slam knockout of our boy Crone Gracie. Before that happened, it was really awkward on the feet. And I feel like someone like Jean Silva is just going to take advantage of that awkwardness, that hesitation, and just come in with heat. You know, he does a good job of controlling the pace of everything. Like he'll like give you a high five. He'll like go up to the ref and like say something
like,
to him.
Excuse me, what's happening?
Yeah. Like he
I'm
just
confused.
Takes over the whole like energy of the cage, and then once you get back onto your rhythm, he's already hitting you. So I feel like this Jean Silva one is a lock against Bryce Mitchell. He just hasn't looked as good as he did in the beginning of his career.
There is something about Bryce Mitchell, though. He has the ability to really force the grappling and take people down to the ground, and he's so dominant on the ground. So that's where I see a little bit of worry, just because I haven't seen Jean Silva be put on his back and have to really, really defend on the ground. Yeah. He has the ability to stay up and defend, but in worst case scenario, if Bryce Mitchell gets him down, I wonder what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of those guys from Fight Nerds never really have to worry about that. They're so good at sticking, moving, staying safe, defending the takedown, to stay on the striking, to stay on their game plan so that they can strike and be successful. So I am excited to see what this fight ends up looking like. Yes, I do see Jean Silva having the edge just because he's so devastating with his striking. So we'll see what it looks like.
Yeah, I think Jean Silva's going to knock him out, but we'll see. It's also just that knockout was so nasty. Like, he was convulsing when he fought Josh Emmett. Yeah, it was like you saw Josh Emmett like celebrating, and then he looks over and he's like,
oh no, I killed somebody. What have I done?
These hands.
I'm surprised he didn't travel up into the mountains and like give up fighting.
He did. He fucked off for a year and a half after that.
He's like,
He probably had nightmares. He like joined a monastery and like became Buddhist afterwards. That was rough for him. So I mean, but I feel like Jean Silva wouldn't care. I think
he wouldn't. He would dance on his grave. He's fine. He's fine. No therapy for that
He
guy.
would cheers him. He'd be like, I'll see you soon, brother. See you soon. We'll hang out with Hitler in hell, you know?
Yeah, that guy does not care.
No. What about Yair Rodriguez versus Patricio?
Oh, we have the debut of Patricio Pitbull in the UFC. Finally,
yeah, after so long.
Finally, he has had enough with the PFL Bellator debacle. And he got his release and promptly signed it with the UFC. Signed it. He did.
Signed it.
He signed it.
He signed it.
Typically, Yair Rodriguez has trouble with this kind of striker, with this kind of like very
in the pocket power guy.
He exactly took the words right out of my
pocket
power. And he is a pint-sized pitbull. He's a pocket pit.
I'm like, how upset would he be at that description? Power fine. Pocket fighter.
Little pocket bully.
Like, put him in my pocket.
He's so cute. Just adorable.
Pinch his cheeks. Okay.
Yeah, so I think he's one of those fighters that is going to transition to the UFC really well. You know, we have people like Chandler who came from Bellator into the UFC and has not done very well. We had Eddie Alvarez, who was, you know, hit or miss.
Yeah.
Coming in from Bellator. I think this one, I'm seeing some good stuff with this one, just because his style of fighting.
Yeah, a lot of people have been picking Yair to win.
Interesting.
But I agree with you. I feel like Pitbull's going to be able to just mow him down with that, like, in the pocket nastiness, and he's really good on the ground, too. Yair's most recent losses are to Volkanovski, which was just like a beatdown, and then Brian Ortega, he got submitted. So, and that fight was kind of interesting because he was winning up until that point. I feel like he was like doing really good work on the feet, and then Ortega was able to trap him in something. He kind of gassed halfway through the fight. So, yeah, I'm interested to see. I don't think Pitbull loses steam. He has a win over AJ McKee, who I still think is one of the greatest fighters outside of the UFC.
It really is.
So, yeah, I'm gonna go with Pitbull too for this one.
All right. Well, I think that is all we have for today, guys.
What about Zhang versus Viana? Real quick pick. Who you got?
Oh, Zhang.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I got Viana.
The reason why is because I feel like Viana's striking is still just to distract for a takedown. And I feel like when she starts pushing the takedown, Jan will be able to just stick and move and keep it standing and make it a really rough night for Viana.
I just think Viana, once she gets a hold of one of your limbs, she's like a dog on a bone. And I think she
is very much.
Yeah, Zhang does a good job of commanding the space in the cage, but I think if she gets a hold of something, then it's over. Like, just the way that she attacked Lemos on the ground, and we've seen Lemos do good with other grapplers on the ground, be like good defensively at least. She was just able to treat her like a blue belt. So I got Viana for this one, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, guys. Well, this has been another Two Straws. How's camp going?
Great. So amazing.
I love sneaking it in right at the end. Just
so amazing.
Camp updates from Jess.
It's great.
So fun. So fun.
I can't wait. Can't wait for Monday.
Yay.
Go camp.
Yeah. All right, guys. So this has been another Two Straws. Make sure to join us so you can be part of the member rally in the next month. You got a bunch of time. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Bye. Bye.